Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ultimate Job Search and Career Podcast. I am Bill Todd, the company's expert, and today we're going to take two questions from my wonderful viewers/listeners, and we're going to talk about should you settle for a low salary and how to ask for a promotion. We're going to answer both of those questions over the course of this episode. So let's jump right in. The first question here is from somebody called Free Guy 2.0. That sounds kind of ominous, but Free Guy says, "Thank you for all the videos and advice. I have a question. So I have an MBA in marketing." Oh, well, we got a question from an MBA. Well, I guess it's better than getting a question from a lawyer. It would start with whereas, hitherto, hereby, and however. But anyway, Free Guy says, "So I have an MBA in marketing with around 2 years of combined relevant job experience with different internships and companies." Okay. "Unfortunately, I'm not able to secure a job in the field of my liking due to lack of experience and competition." Okay. "Currently, the situation where I am is experienced candidates are joining the workforce for minimum wage, leaving entry-level workers with little choice." Okay. "And I wanted to know if I should settle for a very low salary for my education and skills so that I get more experience, or should one wait for the perfect job?" That's an excellent question, Free Guy. I am inferring from what you're saying that you've taken your MBA right after your presumably a bachelor degree. So you haven't been out in the workforce and then gone back to school to take your MBA, which is, I still believe, is the default thing for a lot of people. Usually they don't get an MBA right out of school. Instead, they get out into the workforce. They get about an average of 10 years experience working in jobs, and then they go back to school and get their MBA and then go back into the workforce a second time. So I'm inferring that you haven't done that. You're looking for an entry-level job, but you've got an MBA. Now, this is an excellent question. Okay, there's several kind of things I'd like to get into here. And the first one is something that at least I'm going to label as the MBA syndrome. Okay. For all of you guys out there that have gone back to school to get an MBA, some of you may be encountering this. And that is that one would think that somebody with an MBA would be more hireable than somebody without an MBA. Okay, that's a logical inference. And the problem is that sometimes, depending on what industry you're in and what region you're in, that's not the case, at least not for entry-level positions, because the fact that you have an MBA, okay, if you're in an industry where that's recognized and it's valued, then it's definitely something positive for you. It will make you more hireable, okay? It'll be a statement of your value as an employee. However, if you're in another industry that doesn't put a ton of value explicitly on an MBA, having an MBA can work against you. And that may be what you are encountering, Free Guy 2.0. And that is because, and I'm sort of getting into the heads of other people here, people who do not have MBAs don't understand really what an MBA is. There's a lot of stigma around it. And because of that, I know the reaction to candidates with MBAs for non-management jobs has been, in some industries, it's been that, oh, here is a candidate that thinks they know it all. Here is a candidate that doesn't have a lot of experience, but thinks they could be the CEO. Okay, I mean, whether or not that is correct, that is what a lot of hiring managers do think in certain circles. Okay, so I'm not sure if your situation, Free Guy 2.0, includes those industries where they review MBAs like that. Okay, so that's one kind of element that might be affecting you. Okay. If you're going for an entry-level job and you have an MBA, it can be a bit of a contradiction. And sometimes it counts against you if you go through standard channels, okay, to get a job. And that's what it sounds like you're doing here. Okay. Now, to try and answer your question more directly here, you're asking the question, I wanted to know if I should settle for a very low salary for my education, or I should, wait for the perfect job you have two alternatives: waiting for the perfect job and settling for a very low salary so you can get experience. Okay, well, here's the deal. You haven't really provided me too much with your industry and your situation, and I can't speak to your exact situation, but there's an easy way for you to determine this, okay, what would be more appropriate, and that is to probe the job market for yourself, like for your options, okay? Now, one way you can do this, and this is something I'm going to be referring to later on in the episode too, is first of all, to get an idea of the types of skills that are valued in your industry. You can do this through LinkedIn, okay? Look up the organizations where you'd like to work, like your target jobs, okay? If you want to be a manager or something in an industry or in a certain company, go on LinkedIn and do a search for those organizations. And then look within those organizations, do a people search for people that have the job title that you're looking for, okay? And this is actually quite easy to do. And once you do that, you'll be able to see their profile. You'll be able to see the equivalent of their resume. And you can see, do they have MBAs in marketing? Do you find them at what level of the organization do you find those people? That should give throw some light on the culture of those organizations and how they view different qualifications, okay? So if you find, for example, that nobody at an entry level has an MBA, that tells you something. If you find multiple people at the entry level that have an MBA, that tells you something else, okay? That tells you it's possible. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now, in terms of should you settle for a very low salary, this is the problem that a lot of job seekers have, because, and I've spoken extensively about this on my 2 YouTube channels, starting with the fact that in job interviews, they ask, what are your salary expectations? And the way to pass those types of questions is to not price yourself out of the market, as it were, to give a lower salary. I'd be happy with less money, right? That's why those questions are asked by recruiters when you're getting a job through standard channels, because they're looking for somebody qualified for a good price. That's essentially what they're looking for. Okay. Now, the problem is that puts a lot of temptation on candidates to really, price themselves very low. And for someone who has spent lots of money and time getting education or getting a lot of experience, this is self-defeating, because, all your education and experience is valuable, okay, to varying degrees. And if you're just going to be happy with a minimum wage job, then what was the point of doing all that? You are worth more than minimum wage if you have valid education and experience. It's just that simple, okay? And I'm speaking generally here, but that's usually how it goes. Okay, so this is the problem. You need to get data on what your options are, and a way to do that is to make use of the internet. You could do the LinkedIn thing I suggested, or you could look up salary websites for your position. If you know the job title and the industry you're going to be working in or you want to work in, your target, you can look those up. Okay, Glassdoor.com is a good resource for that. There's other ones. Payscale.com is another one. There's several of these where you can sort of put in your desired job title, desired region, and desired industry, and it will give you a ballpark number. It won't be pinpoint accurate, but it'll give you some information. Okay. Now, the other thing, Free Guy 2.0, is that, once again, I'm making an assumption here, but it sounds like you're only looking for a job through standard channels. Some of the language you use here suggests that you are applying for jobs that are posted and you are talking to recruiters once they give you a job interview. Okay, so just so you're aware, that is not the only way of getting a job. In fact, that is not even the most popular method of getting a job. The most popular method is networking. Most people that have jobs get them through networking. Okay, and networking tends to short circuit a lot of these rules. Okay, if you have some kind of handicap in the sense that maybe your education is not typical or your experience is not typical, or you feel that you are at a disadvantage in some other area. Maybe your social skills are perhaps below average or something like that. Your profile does not fit the perfect profile that recruiters look for. Okay? If that's you, I highly recommend you undertake your job search by networking, like using that vector to get into organizations and not going through standard channels, because you are at a disadvantage going through standard channels. They're looking for a candidate that has a certain profile, okay? The ideal profile. And that includes things like, if you're going for a certain job, they want to see that you've prepared your whole life for that job. You haven't done anything non-standard. You haven't changed careers. Your career has followed one single straight line all the way to that job. And if you don't fit that, let's say you have a resume gap, you are off work for a long time, or let's say that you change careers, or let's say that your career followed a non-standard path. Well, all of that is going to look unfavorably to a recruiter if you're trying to get a job through standard channels. And a lot of people despair at this. They think that they're unemployable and they feel very depressed about it, and it's very stressful. Now I'm speaking to all those people. You are not unemployable by far. In fact, some of the most valuable employees have broad experience. They haven't worked their entire career in one place doing one thing. They have a broad skill set, and they get that by doing a variety of different jobs and seeing a variety of different cultures, work cultures, and seeing solutions and seeing things done in different ways. That's how you get a lot of broad experience. And those people tend to make the best employees, in my experience. Okay, so if that's you, Free Guy 2.0, make sure that you are looking, you're trying to get a job through not just one method, but through multiple methods, the big one being networking. There are also other ways of getting jobs. You could apply in person. I know in 2021, that's still a little bit challenging, depending on what's going on with your part of the world. But it's still a thing. You can do something called, you can do informational interviews as another vector. I've talked about that on both my channels. Just do a search for the company's expert informational interviews. And also growth opportunities as a way of getting a job. Okay, there are other things out there. Okay, so don't just follow one method. Okay. Now, do you have to settle? Well, that's a question that you are going to be able to answer by looking at the profiles of other people that are in the target jobs that you want. Look what they did. Okay, look what they have, and you look at their work history. And after you do several of these, like we're talking 20 of these individuals, 40 of these individuals, you will see patterns. And that will inform you as to what you need to do. Okay? In your specific situation, in your industry, in your region. Okay? That's the way to get information on this stuff. Okay? So that's what I would say to Free Guy 2.0. This is an excellent question. A lot of people are struggling with this, especially the whole salary question. Okay? The whole salary question, should I price myself out of the market because I'm desperate to get a job? Well, the answer is no. I would say no. Now, obviously this is going to vary, but right at the moment, especially in the United States, I'm not in the United States, but for people who are in the United States, they've just gone through the Great Recession, the Great Resignation. And for certain types of jobs in certain industries, there's a big demand for labor at the moment. So, in that case, what we're seeing is that they're not paying minimum wage. They're paying above minimum wage. They're paying a premium across the board for a lot of these jobs because they're desperate for people. So, especially at this time, I would say, no, you shouldn't have to settle for a low salary. Now, if you are presented with a really amazing career opportunity, some kind of internship almost, some kind of thing that doesn't pay a lot, but it has a lot of intrinsic value, you're going to be getting other things from the job other than compensation or money, let's put it that way. Maybe you're going to be working with some pretty amazing people that you want to work with. Maybe you're going to be working exactly in the place you want to work, and that counts for something, getting your foot in the door. Then obviously that's going to have a lot of value for you, okay? But just to get a job, period, okay, with an MBA in marketing, I don't think you should price yourself out of the market, like right down where you're making very little money. You shouldn't have to do that at this day and age. And if you find that you don't have, or this particular time, I should say, if you find that you're having to do that, what my advice would be to go about your job search in a different way to find other opportunities, okay? Get other options. That's what I would say. So check out my channel for what those are and the details of how those work. And I express myself a little more clearly and more directly than I am at the moment, trying to wrap my head around this for the first time. But also, if you really want the definitive guide, I would recommend, of course, my Get Hired course, which there's a link in the description box for this video. And I take you through absolutely everything. I walk you through everything with scripts and templates and all that for how to get a job. Okay, so you could try that. That's where I walk you through all that stuff. Okay, but don't just listen to me. Get your information, corroborate all the information you're getting. Then you know it's correct. Okay, and I wish you the best of luck. That was an excellent question. Okay, so special thanks to Free Guy 2.0. Okay, now we're going to move on. We have another question here. If I can cue it up, here we go. And this comes from somebody called Alicia Leono, if I'm saying that correctly. Alicia. I would say Alicia. Some people say Alicia. Bye, Alicia. And Leono, it could be Liono, but anyway, I'm horrible with names, so I do apologize if I've bastardized somebody's name. Anyway, Alicia Leono says, "Love your videos. I've been a subscriber for over a year now." Well, awesome. Thank you very much. "Can you please make a video on what's the best approach for asking for a promotion? I know you made one about a year ago, but what about for companies that already have a set promotion cycle, e.g. the Big Four?" And this is a reference to the Big Four accounting firms in the States anyway. "And you'd like to ask for a promotion outside of the month where most employees typically get promoted. Thanks." That's awesome. Okay, thank you for the question, Alicia. Okay, there's several things going on here. Okay, now I did a video a while ago on my main YouTube channel, The Company's Expert, where I think it's called How to Get a Promotion. And basically I recommended 3 things that will be of general help to get a promotion. The first one is to add soft skills. Okay, so improve your soft skills, communication skills, networking skills, collaboration skills, presentation skills, public speaking skills, negotiation skills, and so on and so on. The better you are at that stuff, okay, and including your personal charisma, the more you work on that, the further you will go. It's just that simple. Maybe things shouldn't work like that, but they do, unfortunately. Across every industry, in every region, that's a big part of it, okay? The second thing I advised people to do was to add management skills. So if you have technical skills, let's say you're a technician, let's say you're a salesperson, let's say you're a researcher, whatever it is that you do, okay? you're a truck driver, whatever you do, okay, adding management skills onto your existing technical skills will get you further. Okay. If you learn how to manage money, you learn how to manage people, you learn how to manage projects, you learn how to grow a business operation. What makes a business more profitable? What can you do to make a business more profitable? Those skills will help you. They will help you through your entire career. So, in the first case for soft skills, I recommend textbooks. Learn about this from the greats, that have written textbooks on this. For management skills, there's an infinite number of, little certificate programs you can get where you commit maybe 6 months of yourself part-time to get that. Okay. And, the third thing that I recommend is, once again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, is to look at LinkedIn profiles. Okay. Find out, okay. In Alicia's case, Alicia is asking about how to get a promotion within one of the big 4 accounting firms, okay, in the United States. Now, what I would do is, if I was in Alicia's position, I would think, okay, I'm at this level and I want to be promoted to this other level. So I'm going to go on LinkedIn and I'm going to look up the individuals that have that job at that organization or in all of the big 4 accounting firms, okay? I'm going to do a people search within those organizations for individuals that are working in that job. And I'm going to look at their profile. I'm going to look at what they have. Okay. What has got them to that position? What makes them qualified for that position? And I'm going to look at a lot of these, as many as I can find, and I'm going to look for trends. Okay. If, for example, if they all have MBAs and you don't, then maybe the easiest way to get promoted into that position is to get yourself an MBA or some kind of equivalent of an MBA. Okay. And so on. Right. So that will help inform you if there's something you're missing that could be a problem, or if there's something that gives you sort of bonus points in them choosing you as opposed to somebody else. Okay. So that can be enlightening. Okay. Okay. So those are the 3 things that I have previously advised people if you're trying to get promoted. All those things will help you. Okay. They will be the things that directly or indirectly your superiors are looking for when they make the decision of promoting you upwards. Okay. Now let's talk about Alicia's specific situation here. Alicia is talking about with working and getting a promotion within these very large organizations, the big 4 accounting firms. I haven't thought about this for years. I mean, what are they? There's like EY, there's PricewaterhouseCoopers. There used to be Arthur Andersen, but that was a long time ago. They're no longer around. KPMG and, what's the other one? I can't remember. I think about this about once every year. But anyway, so these are very large organizations. They have a very large organization culture. Now, I myself have never worked within those 4 accounting firms, okay? Incidentally, if one of the people listening to this, if you have worked inside one of those 4 accounting firms, let me know in the comments. And maybe if you feel so inclined, give your recommendation on what Alicia would do. But what I can say is that those 4 organizations, they have very formalized corporate culture, and there are rules for everything. And there are, as you can surmise from Alicia's question, there are rules for promotion. And it's different from, say, a smaller organization or a mid-sized organization where it's much more organic. People tend to get promoted because in large part, they deserve to get promoted. They have demonstrated their value. Sometimes the promotion is a reward for an accomplishment. Sometimes it's considered a realigning of putting someone in a more appropriate role for their skill set. Okay. And I'm being kind here. That's when it's done right. Okay. But in a large organization, it doesn't usually work like that. In a large organization like these, people tend to be more process focused rather than results focused. And so it's a matter of following the rules, okay? For example, they will reward behavior that is not necessarily good for the organization. Instead, they'll reward behavior that's good for the individuals. Like, for example, one of the things that they value is somebody not rocking the boat. Okay? Is that good for the organization? No, it's not good for the organization. It makes it easier for the individuals that you have to work with. There's also a lot of politics that goes into this stuff. So learning all that, can be the key to navigating these organizations and figuring out what they like and what they don't like. Okay. Now, it can be very intimidating and it can be very perplexing. Okay. One easy thing you can do, aside from learning things like organizational behavior, which is a course in an MBA, which explains a lot of it. But one of the easy things you can do is you can ask what the rules are. Okay. You have to do this in a tactful way. And you have to not necessarily ask your superior who's going to promote you or approve you to be promoted, but you could ask your peers. You could ask people that are several levels higher than you. What can sometimes help is to go to an executive. You can book a meeting with an executive or wander into their office one day casually and say, do you just have a couple of minutes? I just got a couple of quick questions. Hi, I'm whatever. I work in this department. And, if that's okay. And then just take 5 minutes of their time and say like, look, I'm trying to get promoted. What are the things that this organization values? What would be your recommendation to me? If you were to give me advice or anyone advice, to get on in this organization and to climb the ladder, what are the things that, are most valued? Something like that. And ask that question to a variety of people. Okay. Make it a non-threatening way, ask in a non-threatening way, make it so that you are not making it personal, like they're not related in any way to your promotion. And you can ask these rules explicitly. And sometimes you will learn stuff. Okay. You will learn things all the time, but sometimes it'll be extremely useful. Okay, that's something quick and easy you can do. So that's what I would recommend. And finally, the big thing here, okay, is a lot of promotions, and this is coming from somebody who's sort of climbed the ladder here in a smaller to mid-size organization, is a lot of it boils down to charisma. People promote people they want to work with. It's just that simple. Somebody could be very talented. They could have a lot of technical skills. They could be very, very good at their job. But if you don't enjoy working with them, that usually results in them not being promoted and not being given the opportunities. Once again, this is one of those things where perhaps things shouldn't work like this, but they do because of human nature. We just like to work with people that we get along with. And I can't overstate the importance of that, especially in larger organizations where results are not the number one thing a lot of times. It's usually politics. There are a lot of people that get appointed to jobs for political reasons rather than sheer accomplishments. So if that's the environment that you're in, and I suspect it is if you're working in one of the big four accounting firms, beyond sort of the minimum technical requirements, if you're looking for getting promoted, these are the things I would focus on. Okay. Learn the rules. And, by asking a variety of people, looking up people's profile on LinkedIn to see what they have, filling in any blanks that you might have, learning the rules, and then just being very charismatic. Learning to have great communication skills, great interpersonal skills. A lot of times in these organizations, it seems like that stuff is not valued. You can work in these organizations for a very long time. You can encounter all kinds of officious people that sometimes are in positions of relative power, and it doesn't seem like that stuff is valued at all. But I'm here to tell you that it is. And the higher you go, you see the more it is. Okay. And the thing is, in a lot of those organizations, you can shelter yourself from human nature, and you can think that technical skills are all that matters, and that things like politics and charisma don't work, but I assure you they do. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Special thanks to Alicia Leono for sending in this question. It's a very intelligent question. A lot of people are struggling in large organizations because you're in an artificial microcosm where the laws of the universe don't apply. The laws of business don't apply. The laws of human nature don't apply. You can insulate yourself against the real world by being in a very large organization. And a lot of large organizations do this. And that's a reason why a lot of them fall eventually, is because they increasingly get out of touch with reality. The culture shifts too far afield from what actually matters in the business world. And they pay the price. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I'm here to tell you that every single person that is on the job market, that is looking for a job, you all have value. Every single person has skills, has talents, different quantities in different areas, but we all have them. And it's just a matter of matching a job to your abilities and your traits and your experiences. And that's what this game is all about. So I wish everybody the best of luck. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to both my channels, The Company's Expert and The Company's Expert 2. And if you are, as I said, wanting to get a job, but you're having some speed bumps along the way and it's not going anywhere fast, and you're looking for a way to reinvigorate your job search, I have a course, the Get Hired course. You can check that out in the description box. And that's where I walk you through absolutely everything in a very organized, step-by-step way to be able to A, get a job, and B, advance your career. So check that out if you feel so inclined. No pressure. Thank you so much. I will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.